Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. And in this one, we are going to talk about the state of the Miami Heat. But before we get started, hit the like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. I want to keep the channel going. I welcome your support. The people that have been supporting me as of late, I welcome it. But also, if you could also tell somebody else about the channel so they can hop on and support it. So let's get into it. Today was the State of the Heat annual press conference by Pat Riley, that he sat down for about an hour with the press, answering various questions about the Heat's future, about his future, and answered some questions about the events that happened to the Miami Heat franchise this season. So first things first, what I was looking for in this press conference was, one, was Pat Riley going to be accountable for any of the things that happened with Jimmy Butler? And he was. He actually was pelted with a couple questions right at the beginning of the presser, and he was asked about Jimmy Butler and how could he have handled it different. But the first thing, he went into a couple of reminiscing events with him and Jimmy, just a lot of positive things that they both went through, and he took full accountability, which I actually thought was really big of him. The fact that he actually mentioned that the buck stops with him and it's on him for the handling of Jimmy Butler and the way the whole thing just transpired and the way the whole thing ended. So the beginning of the press conference definitely was about Jimmy Butler, and then they got into about what is going to be going on, and immediately I thought, and kind of like what everybody assumed, most people assume, that he wasn't going anywhere and they weren't going to run it back. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, I would think you guys had the same assumption. If you guys thought that there was any inkling that there could have been any rebuild, no way, no how, not with Pat Riley. As long as he is the president of the organization, there is no rebuild. He mentioned just maybe he hadn't tanked until last time he tanked was about 2008. He had mentioned in that press conference. But other than that, this is not a rebuild. They're not planning to run it back, but there will be some changes. There are going to be some tweaks. Those changes, although he had mentioned that there was going to be some maybe lateral changes, maybe to the role players, as far as what can they do to upgrade in that area. He didn't really fully commit to, we got to bring in a superstar, although there was some questions that were asked about especially managing an older superstar, and I believe that was referencing Kevin Durant, which I believe the Miami Heat will be in pursuit for this summer. So among the other names that have been rumored, Ja Morant, Giannis, and then there's also Trae Young, also one of the names that have been surfacing as far as the Miami Heat wish list, so to speak. I think the most realistic out of all of these names that are out is Kevin Durant, which, depending on what pieces do the Suns are going to be looking for, that's going to be a whole different story. But it was definitely mentioned that changes will be coming and they are not going to run it back. So that's definitely an encouragement. Another thing that was also mentioned is the fact that he values the regular season, that the fact that they've been somewhat of a play-in team. Obviously, they finished 10th this past season. Obviously, they went on a small little run and they managed to make the playoff, but he did mention the times that they were either the 7 or the 8. They were technically in the playoffs, as he was articulating. But other than that, he wants to see changes and improvements to the team to where they're looking for more of a 2 or 3 or a 4 seed. So they're actually having to have an easier time in terms of the road of winning a championship, not always having to play in that play-in area to where they gotta, happen to make a run at the bottom of the bracket to make the finals. He rather prefer that the regular season be a little bit of a priority to him. That's exactly what I got out of that press conference, that he values more of the regular season and he's looking to try to build that squad so that regular season could be more prioritized so they can put themselves in a better position to make a better run for a championship. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, you should definitely feel excited about that, because especially if you're a season ticket holder of the Miami Heat, because for the past couple of years, they've just been dabbled with being at the bottom of the playoff bracket, having to play their way in and then making this run only to maybe be a falsehood of trying to win a championship or just run out of gas as they did this past season with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think that moving in a direction to where they can try to get one of those first four seeds, I think is very, very possible. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, feel free to comment. I mean, how do you feel about Kevin Durant, the pursuit of Kevin Durant, or maybe Giannis, Ja Morant, Trae Young? You know, me personally, I am not a Miami Heat fan, but the reason I like covering this subject is because the Miami Heat have a unique way of doing things. They are the culture, and the fact that Pat Riley has a way of doing things, and the fact that it is somewhat of a tradition that Pat Riley comes out and addresses the media for about an hour and explaining just everything that went on this season and what the plans are for the following season, which gets me to the next subject about him not going anywhere. So despite pundits explaining and stating their opinion about Pat Riley should maybe step aside or he should call it quits, that's not going to happen. He still feels good. He still feels energized. He still feels motivated and passionate. And he feels he could fix this. And he's not going anywhere unless it's on his terms. And he's going to try to make a run, in my opinion, for at least another title and try to see if it could end his reign as Miami Heat president on his terms. So forget about that him retiring and stepping aside. He feels just as energized as he could ever be in order for him to try to win the championship. So moving forward, he is definitely going to go full throttle, and he has no plans of retiring anytime soon. As far as that, he had mentioned. And then another take, something that I took out of the presser, was talking about Tyler Herro's extension, that they were in talks with Tyler Herro and they were positive, and that he wants him to stay a Miami Heat for the rest of his career. And he had actually phrased or described him as igniting. And Tyler Herro, I think, has had his career best this past season. He won the 3-point contest. He had career highs in points. He just played, to me, the best basketball of his career this past season. And I think a year ago, around this time, he was challenged by Pat Riley. You know, he had called him like unreliable. He's not there all the time. And I think that Tyler Herro deserves a lot of credit, you know, just coming back, playing most of his games, and definitely increasing his level of play moving forward. I can see Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo maybe not worried about them being traded at all. I think there was an interview with Bam Adebayo where he looked like it insinuated that Bam and Pat Riley were on the same page, and it seems like Tyler Herro and Pat Riley are also on the same page as far as trying to improve the team. So I can't see a scenario where, whether they trade for KD or Giannis or anybody else, that any of those two are going to be moved. So I see a scenario maybe where they can add a Kevin Durant, or if they can't add a Kevin Durant, that they're probably going to add some role players around these two young pieces and see if they can win a title that way. So they discussed, you know, Pat Riley had mentioned that there hasn't been any commitment yet as far as a contract extension. Tyler Herro's window for an extension is this October. He can be offered a 3-year, $150 million contract. And the following summer after that, he could be offered a 4-year, $200 million contract. And if he happens to make the All-NBA team, he could be offered as much as $300 million. So Pat Riley had mentioned that they've been in discussion, but nothing has been in stone yet. They are not really going to mention anything yet. This is kind of similar to the Jimmy Butler discussion of the extension that he had requested. But I think that Pat Riley is handling this a little bit better. I think he feels a little bit more comfortable maybe giving Tyler Hero an extension. So we would have to wait and see to see when that window opens in October for Tyler Hero and see if they could finalize an extension. I believe that they're going to probably wait this out to see if Tyler Hero can duplicate what he had done this past season. So there was definitely discussions about that, and just obviously discussions with Mickey Arison and Eric Spoelstra, just improving the team. And he did talk a lot about Eric Spoelstra, that he just needed a break, that he is one of the hardest working coaches in the NBA, and he just works tirelessly to just improve the team. And basically, he is on vacation. He either is taking a vacation to Hawaii, is what was told, or he's going to Hawaii. He just needs a couple of weeks just to decompress, get away from basketball. He deserves it. I mean, this guy works harder than anybody else. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA and one of the best coaches of all time. So I think that Pat Riley, just having Eric Spoelstra just take some time off from basketball at this moment, I think will help. And when he comes back, they'll have discussions about how they're going to do to improve the team, maybe starting from the draft, and how they're going to be able to improve the roster in terms of bringing anybody in via trade, because they have, I think, 14 players under contract. So the only way I think that they can bring somebody in is via trade. So look for some changes coming up, whether before the draft, during the draft, and obviously when the free agent period starts for the NBA. So those are the points that I got from the press conference. Would I think, in my opinion, that I think the most logical pursuit is going to be Kevin Durant? I think even though Giannis has the Miami Heat on his list of teams that he would like to be traded to, he mentioned the New York teams, he mentioned the LA teams. So I will probably do a video on that, about Giannis's list of teams that he would like to go to and who probably has the best situation. But just know that the Miami Heat are going to be in competition for Kevin Durant and for all these players. But especially, let me concentrate on Kevin Durant. Houston is definitely going to be in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised if OKC is definitely in the mix. They have a lot of picks to play with, and they got a bunch of young pieces. They can also trade Phoenix because they're looking for some pieces, obviously to rebuild their team. So the Miami Heat may not be set in stone, but the reason Kevin Durant is the first obvious choice for the Miami Heat is because during the trade deadline, the only team that he requested to be traded was to the Miami Heat. Otherwise, he'd like to stay in Phoenix. He didn't want to go to Golden State. So just keep that in mind moving forward. So I believe the Miami Heat and Pat Riley are going to try to make a very hard pursuit for Kevin Durant without maybe breaking up the entire squad. Just strategically, I can't tell you off the top of my head who would they move. If the Phoenix Suns would be obviously looking for some picks, so we're looking maybe their pick for this year and like a future pick, a pick swap, Wiggins, Jovic, Robinson. So I mean, there's just a lot there. I probably get into it in another video. What would the Miami Heat do? But feel free to comment if you're a Miami Heat fan. Shout out to my friends that are Miami Heat fans out there. The two or three of my friends that are Miami Heat fans, you know who you are. But feel free in the comments. Tell me what would be the best situation for the Miami Heat this summer and moving forward. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And without further ado, till next time.